Hello. Today I'm here to offer you some dating advice because recently I have been turning my attention away from dating. I've come to realize that one of the reasons why I am so fixated on the affections of this one guy that I'm seeing might be because I'm using him sort of as a medication. Some people choose alcohol, and other people choose food. I grew up in a society where alcohol was not the chosen medication of choice, but food was. So I developed a reliance on escapism through various mediums, like food. And one of the mediums that grounded itself in my early adolescence and continued to persist as that thing I reached for in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep was men. And I've been thinking about this recently, and I realized that I actually perhaps might need to create personal meaning and cultivate myself. I might actually have to confront the absurdity of existence, and that no guy can actually heal that wound. I realized this when I encountered someone who was giving me consistent affection. For the first time in my life, I felt completely secure in someone's affections romantically. This guy was giving me flowers. He was writing me poems and letters, biscuits, planned very thoughtful dates, said wonderful things, intelligent, good looking, charming, and totally obsessed with me. I realized that this is not enough, which is something that I didn't really consider as a possibility growing up. I always wanted to find a guy like this. And he's not perfect, but he felt very close to it. And I found myself realizing that despite having found myself in those perfect conditions for receiving love, I still hadn't felt like life was complete. I thought I'd get this little check mark. You are a worthy candidate of love. That's what romantic affections meant to me. And once I got this check mark, I still didn't feel satisfied. I found myself walking late at night towards the river near my college. And as I was walking there, it suddenly struck me that I still didn't have personal meaning. And this entire time, what this guy has been a big distraction. I could have seen the corrosive effects of this distraction in school, friends, things like that I was neglecting. Neglecting perhaps not in action, but often just emotionally. I was seeing my friends regularly. I had my study schedule, but my mind was still viewing him as the northern star, the one truth everything had to be related back to. I read something interesting in my class. I wanted to bring it up with him. I noticed a pattern in my friends, or someone does something thoughtful for me. There had to be evidence provided to him that that thing had happened to me. Every personal fact, sensation, or emotion that I encountered was not to be investigated on my own. Instead, it had to be given a cursory glance by myself and then brought forth for inspection under his clinical gaze. But his scalpel was not very effective. I think it was sharp and it was cold, but I think it was ultimately blunt in its dynamism. It's a scalpel that only works on very specific parts. And I don't want to be with a scalpel that works with only very specific parts. I'd like to be with a Swiss Army knife, because that's probably what I am, if not a gleaming sword. I'm one of these things. And I think we all deserve to be with people who offer to us more than what we offer them. So, I realized I don't have meaning, and I began to consider this more and more as I went through my journal. I went through my entries, and it struck me that a few months ago there's a different guy, and those entries were also about him. In fact, the entries of the previous guy, they were intense, but they were even more intense than they were with this guy. So clearly I'd learned a lesson or two there, and I was applying it. This guy wasn't as centered as he would have been if he'd encountered me a few months ago before I'd met the first guy. But he was still getting too much of my attention. So I decided I need to start working on cultivating myself and figuring out what it is that I want out of life. And that is when, in the depths of my despair, I created the dim sum method. The dim sum method to dating is very short. It can be explained in only a few sentences, but it can also save you years of your life. So here it is. Here's what you've been waiting for. Here is how to approach your romantic life. When you encounter on the road to love a dim son of a bitch, you drop him and you find some better. It's as easy as that, and it has a success rate of about 95%. I hope this helps.